Hey guys, Win-gineer Games here, bringing you some RuneScape 3 content today. This video I've got a sort of a loot video from a bunch of geodes that I obtained while I was mining ore required for a Masterwork set. This idea came to me a couple days ago, but I started doing it probably 2 months ago. I don't have the funds to be buying ores or the armor or bars or anything like that. So while I was mining the ores, I figured I might as well keep a tab of the geodes and just add them up at the end, just kind of see what kind of loot we got. And then I started a YouTube channel a couple weeks ago, and so now here we are using it for a video. I believe that I haven't opened any of these geodes previously. The drop rates, as you'll see towards the end, are a little bit off, which makes me wonder if I did, but I don't believe that I did as far as I can tell. We'll go ahead and get right into it. What I'm going to be talking about in this video is I'm going to talk generally about what geodes are, where you get them, what rocks you get them from. I'm going to be talking about the wiki provided drop rates. I'm going to have those in here as well. Ways that you can increase your drop rates. They have luck enhancements that you can use to increase your drop rates. And I'm going to talk about, based on the number of ores you have to mine for Masterwork, I'm going to talk about how many of each geode I expected to get, and then we'll look at how many I actually got, and then ultimately at the end we'll wrap up with the loot. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the three types of geodes that you can obtain are Sedimentary, Igneous, and Metamorphic. Sedimentary are obtained from the lower level ores, anything that is below 60 mining, so that's copper, tin, iron, coal, mithril, adamantite, luminite, and runite. Igneous and metamorphic are obtained from the same ores. They're obtained from the orichalcite, the dracolith, nechrite, phasmatite, concentrated coal, bainite, light animica, and dark animica. Some things to note are, while you can mine copper and tin ore both at level 1, you don't actually start obtaining geodes until you hit level 5, according to the wiki. I have no way of testing that right now. I didn't start a new account to try and determine if that was true or not, but that is what the wiki states. In addition, the concentrated coal will actually give you igneous geodes rather than sedimentary geodes, despite the fact that you are getting the same resource. You're getting coal from both sites. Since the concentrated coal has a higher requirement, therefore you will get the igneous geodes from it instead of the sedimentary. Now that we have a basic understanding of which resources will provide which geodes, it's time to look at the expected drop rates for each of these geodes given the ore that you're mining. So it's important to notice that sedimentary and igneous geodes are affected by two factors. They're affected by the base geode chance, which ultimately is just your mining level, and they're affected by these geode chance modifiers, or luck increasers, however you want to look at them. While sedimentary and igneous are affected by both factors, metamorphic is only affected by the geode chance modifiers. Your mining level has no impact on whether or not you get a metamorphic geode. The wiki is misleading about the metamorphic geode drop. It says that a metamorphic geode has a 1% chance of dropping when you're over level 60, so basically when you're mining anything that will give you an igneous geode. This is true, but it's a compound or a conditional probability. In order to have a metamorphic geode drop, you first have to have the igneous geode drop. So you have to hit that RNG on the roll to get an igneous drop, and then you have to once again hit it to change that igneous into a metamorphic. So while it is 1%, it's not exactly 1% if you really want to look at it. It's close, but it's not quite. According to the wiki, some resources will cap at a maximum of 10% base geode chance, and others will go up to 15%. There's no reason given why some will cap at 10 and others cap at 15. That's just how it is. And there appears to be some confusion about the geode base chance increase for concentrated coal. The wiki notes that the base chance increases for concentrated coal the same way it increases for regular coal. So while it says 23 in the table and on the wiki, I would assume that that's actually probably 75, just an increase of 5 levels, which is the same increase that regular coal requires. The geode chance modifiers and increasers actually have a compound or a double effect whenever you mine resources that will give you a igneous geode. Not only do you get the increased chance for obtaining an igneous geode, but you also get an increased chance for obtaining a metamorphic geode in place of that igneous geode. So now that we have looked at the expected chances of getting a geode drop, I'm going to go into a bit more detailed calculations about how many geodes I should be getting from this little experiment of mining for Masterwork and how many geodes I actually got, and comparing the drop rates. If you're not interested in this at all, I will put a timestamp down in the description that you can just click. It'll skip this part and it'll just go straight to where I start opening all of the geodes. Alright, let's move on into the calculations. So having established the expected drop rates based on the values from the Runescape wiki site, I went ahead and calculated about how many geodes I should have expected to get based on the number of ores that I mined. First, just put it out there that in order to get a full set of Masterwork, it takes mining 13,200 ores, and it took me about 2.5 months off and on to be able to accomplish this. So it's definitely a time sink, and that'll come into effect whenever we look at the loot later on. Because of my mining level, my base chance being 94, my base chance was anywhere between 10 and 15% depending on the ore that I was mining. In addition to this base chance, I had a Ring of Fortune on at all times, and that is a tier 3 luck modifier, and so that increased my geode chance by 1.5%. So that's where the 11.5% and the 16.5% are coming from. My metamorphic chance is 2.5%, because my base metamorphic chance was 1%, and again I had the Ring of Fortune, so that's an additional 1.5%. But this metamorphic chance is conditional on getting an igneous geode. So I had to multiply that by the igneous geode of 11.5%, and that's where that 0.3% came from. The calculations of expected number of geodes accounts for the fact that metamorphic geodes are not in addition to igneous geodes, they replace igneous geodes. So rather than being 11.5% of 600 or giving you the number of igneous geodes, it was actually 11.2% of the igneous geode chance times 600 to give you the expected, because the other 0.3% of the time I would be getting a metamorphic instead of an igneous. The metamorphic would be replacing the igneous. So my actual drop rates for sedimentary geodes and igneous geodes, as you can see, they're well below what I estimated I would be getting based on the values from the wiki. Getting a metamorphic geode instead of an igneous geode 3 times out of a total of 287 opportunities actually comes out to just about 1%. So, which is basically the base chance of getting a metamorphic geode. With that said, it appears that my Ring of Fortune did not actually improve my chance of getting a metamorphic geode like the wiki said it would. It's disappointing that I was consistently hitting below the expected drop rate for all of these geodes. I didn't separate them out into ores whenever I mined them, but just the totals. It's disappointing that I was below that expected drop rate, and I know that there's some uncertainty in these drop rates, but I mean, I had a pretty big sample size. I believe it was like 8,200 or 8,400 ore for sedimentary geodes and like 4,800 for the igneous and metamorphic geodes. So I wasn't dealing with only 100 geodes is what I'm trying to say, or only 100 ore is what I'm trying to say. So it kind of indicates that, the drop chances on the wiki might not be entirely accurate, and how the luck modifiers affect metamorphic geodes also may not be accurate. The luck modifiers might only affect igneous, not also metamorphic as the wiki says it does. But drop rates aside, let's go ahead and take a look at the loot that I got. So we're going to be starting with opening the Sedimentary Geodes. I got 762 of these from all the ore that I mined. And these geodes are capable of dropping spirit shards, uncut opals, uncut jade, uncut red topaz, uncut sapphires, uncut emeralds, uncut rubies, and uncut diamonds. So basically they drop all of your basic gems, basically all of the gems except for your dragon stones. Dragon stones aren't available, they aren't on the drop table until you hit igneous geodes. So basically they just drop gems and then spirit shards, which are used for summoning. This video, before I had shortened it down, before I put it on 4x speed, was around 16 minutes long, and I didn't want y'all to have to sit through that. I didn't want to have to sit through it editing, making sure nothing went wrong, so I went ahead and just put it on 4x speed. I'm going to let it and the music in the background play, and I will be back whenever I start to open the igneous geodes. Now we're going to start opening the Igneous Geodes. Again, I had 284 of these, dropped from anything that was orichalcite and above. These Igneous Geodes will drop the same things that the Sedimentary Geodes do with the addition of uncut dragonstones. So these will drop the uncut opals, uncut jade, uncut red topaz, uncut sapphire, uncut emerald, uncut ruby, uncut diamond, which is all the same things that the Sedimentary drop. These will also drop that uncut dragonstone at a significantly lower drop rate according to the wiki than the other gemstones. I should also mention they still do drop spirit shards for summoning, so they will also drop those as well. Again, I've sped this up. I'm just going to let it play in the background, and I will be back when we get to those last 3 Metamorphic Geodes. And finally, we have the 3 Metamorphic Geodes that I received. The drop table for these Geodes is pretty interesting. It includes a bunch of dragon gear, but it also includes concentrated alloy bars and enriched alloy bars, which are used for Masterwork. It has effigies, it has crystal Triskelion fragments, it has an elite clue scroll, it has that anima crystal that I just got that you're seeing me try and figure out what it is, and it even has what's called a first age coin that you use to high alch. Ultimately, I got the 3 things that you can't get any money out of, so that puts a damper on the price check, but good drops nonetheless. So now we're doing this final price check, and I'm putting just one of each item up there to get a look at the unit prices. These unit prices are probably affected. They're not quite what they should be right now. We're having a double XP weekend in a week from when this video is being made, so no doubt the prices will fluctuate after that weekend. But it is pretty sad to see those unit prices and to see what the total price is coming out to. It doesn't help that from my 3 Metamorphic Geodes, I got 3 untradeable items. Basically any of the other items that I could have gotten from those 3 Metamorphic Geodes would have increased this by a relatively substantial amount with the dragon gear or any of the other higher level, higher value items. So yep, about 2.5 months comes out to about 578,000 gold pieces. So in conclusion, looking at this experience that I have gone through, do not attempt to make your own Masterwork thinking that it will be worth saving the money. It would be far more valuable to just go through, do Slayer, do some low level bossing, get the money that you need to upgrade your gear to eventually get Masterwork. The drop rates on their wiki seem inaccurate, especially for the Metamorphic Geodes. The total profit I got from about 13,000 ore was only 578,000 GP, which definitely not worth the time if you ask me. Just for giggles, I looked and you will get approximately 8.4 thousand crafting XP. So hands down, this is one of the best crafting methods out there. 10 out of 10 would recommend. But no, seriously, take this video as a lesson of I've gone through something that you don't have to go through. I've answered a question that you don't have to worry about answering, and hopefully all of us will move on from this. We'll all be the better for it, and I won't have to make a follow-up video on anything like this again. If they do officially change the Geode drop rates on the wiki or even through an update, I will check it out. I can't guarantee I'm going to go through something like this again, but I'll at least see if I can tell a marketable difference. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I hope that y'all enjoyed this video. I hope that y'all learned something. If you have any other ideas for content you would like for me to create in the future, I've got a couple ideas for some series, but I'd also like to hear y'all's feedback. So just drop a comment down below if there's anything you want to see. Leave a like if you liked the video. If you disliked it, hit the thumbs down. Tell me why you disliked it. Maybe it's something I can improve for the next time. Subscribe if you want to see any of my other videos that will be coming out, and I hope that y'all have a good one. Peace.